So I just had one of the most depressing things happen to me. I guess it's not that it's depressing, but as someone who's getting older and is going to be 50 in a couple of weeks, I literally just got back from the city. I had to lug my suitcase up and over the overpass, so up a million flights of stairs and down a million flights of stairs. And there must have been at least 20 men and boys of different ages just walk right by me, watching me, carrying this huge suitcase up and down the stairs. None of them even stopped. No one even gave me a second glance. And it's so hard getting old, because when I was young, men would have fallen all over to take my suitcase. I never had to lift my suitcase. I never had to put it up in the airport. I never had to do anything. Someone would always help me. And getting old, you become completely invisible. It's you're not even there. And it's really an adjustment, and sad that you just disappear as a woman to men. They don't care. They're not going to help you. Nobody even notices you if you're not a certain age. So anyway, it's depressing.
Just went on a date. Now, this date was so amazing. Perfect location, perfect. He had amazing qualities about himself. He originally had stated that he was, I think it was about a foot taller than me, right? Now, most people don't really care about height. That's totally fine. Anyways, I meet up with him, and I'm seeing eye to eye with this man. Normally, an average person wouldn't really care. However, I personally like tall men. Besides that point, he lied. Was he thinking that I wasn't gonna notice?
I swear that 90% of feminists suffer from some level of cognitive dissonance, because tell me why, when the conversation shifts from the patriarchal norms that apply to women to those that apply to men, all of a sudden the feminism just evaporates from their bodies. And you can tell it's cognitive dissonance because the second the check hits the table, they start to get real creative with the way they justify these norms.
None of the reasons he listed are the reasons why men are expected to pay at dates. The real reason why men are expected to pay at dates is because men make more money than women do. On average, men make more money than women do in almost every single job. And if you expect a woman to go Dutch with you on a date, just have that conversation before you get to the date. Have that conversation before check hits the table. Why wait until then? Because you are still upholding the rules of patriarchy by not communicating. But if you want our help to dismantle the system that is upheld by you, created by you, and created for you, then you are going to need to start with not punching at us. Start there, and we will absolutely help you. We are actively working to dismantle the system, but it sounds like you don't want to dismantle the system. You just want it to benefit you a little bit more.
So you didn't say anything, basically. Well, you make more money than me, so you should pay. Okay, so at that point, because you're a boss babe, what happens in that event when you make more money than a man and he still has to pay? Well, I would still want the man to pay, because, that's just the way it's always been done. So that's what he was saying. Y'all get real creative. I think somebody in the comments was like, you just proved his point. Y'all get real creative when that check hits the table about how y'all justify why y'all are not going to pay or split. Exactly.
That's why you get very, very rich old millionaires going out with very, very young, beautiful models, because actually they have the same market value, because youth and beauty in women is a high market value because it's associated with fertility and health and the possibility of having children. Whereas as a man, you tend to become more valuable the older you are.
This very point that this young lady makes in the video is one of the most frustrating things that women dislike about the dating market. Is this dynamic, is this biological advantage that men have in the dating market, where if you have the resources, if you have the traits that women want, it doesn't matter what age you are. And on the opposite end, your beauty, your youth is considered by men as the pinnacle, as the top a sort of desirable trait in a woman. So you have men with resources and you have women with youth and beauty. Those are the high market values, or those are the things that are most valuable in each market, whether it's women deciding on men or men deciding on women, but women really dislike how resources equalizes or allows men to make the selection of a young woman. So when women who are in their 30s, and I was just doing a video on this a couple of days ago, when women in their 30s are shocked by men who are in their 30s and 40s who are saying, oh, when I settle down, yes, I will consider dating somebody who's 25. They're like, what? You would consider somebody 15 years older? So consider this. When a person is at the peak of their desirability, what type of mate do they pick? And that lets you know what that gender values the most. So, when a man gets a lot of money, a lot of fame, a lot of power, what type of woman does he pick? I.e. Bill Belichick, i.e. Al Pacino, i.e. Leonardo DiCaprio, i.e. Terrence J, who just got engaged with his 25-year-old fiance and he's 41. So you have to understand that is something that men value. And then on the other end, men who are butt ugly, who don't have the best traits, but they got money and got the hot girl. That's how the game goes. You can't fight the system.
Okay, so I keep getting asked this question over and over, as in my dating situation of how it feels to date a man after 16 years of dating women. And to be honest, like, there's good and bad. I feel like when I was in relationship with women, it was just, how do I explain it? Like, it was great because I felt like, I had like a best friend that I was always with, and, we did everything together. I loved how, I felt like I was always understood. I felt like they always knew when to stop or when to start or stop a conversation. They knew boundaries. They, knew communication. As versus a man, it's so different because it's just like they need cues for so many things, and, there's the ups and downs. But to be honest, I feel like the one thing that I always was missing when it came to females that I dated was the security, the financial security. I know that life is not all about money, but I do also know that a partnership involves a lot of being able to financially be stable with each other. And I felt like I was always the one who had to have like the masculine energy. I'm the one that always felt like the masculine in the relationship because I had children and I had obviously like certain responsibilities and duties that I needed to do. So I always felt more like the mom. Weird to say, but it's true. Versus now that I'm dating a man, I feel like I have no masculinity energy in me at all. I feel like I finally can be a feminine and I can be in my feminine energy and I don't worry about anything financially. And even though there's still like their ups and downs, because like I said, it's so different from, switching to a female to a male because us women are just programmed differently. It's nice. I feel like the little downers that we have are so much more fixable than always feeling like you can't be yourself because you're put in a certain category because you're a mother to have to feel more responsibility in a relationship when it comes to dating a woman. And now I'm happy. I feel less stressed. I feel like I don't have to worry about things when it comes to, financial situations. And I feel like, I can still communicate and say what I need to say. And even though I have to repeat it a few times, eventually we get there and it's fine. But to be honest, guys, I dated women longer than I've ever dated men. And I don't know, right now I'm just in such a good place. And I think it's because I've learned so much throughout those relationships that I know exactly what I want and where I want to be, and it's where I am now. So that's pretty much the gist of it. If you guys have any questions, or if you guys have something similar, or if you guys, can give me, something about you guys that was similar to me, like, let me know in the comments, because I know that this is like a trendy topic when it comes to, women who are in relationships with other women and then they, go back to a male. And I know there's a lot of negativity about that, but at the end of the day, like, who cares? At the end of the day, you love who you love, and that's it. Like, it shouldn't matter gender-wise, but yeah, kidding, bye.
Nope, no questions. It makes sense. Different communication styles with a woman. They know how women feel. They know how women think. Now, once again, like I said in previous videos, my barber is a lesbian. And so she said, she said, she said to me, you know, y'all think that just because I'm a woman, I understand women, but I'm just as confused as y'all are. I'm trying to figure them out just the same. So not even that is going to help. Right? But, you know, I get it. We're a little bit more friends because we can understand each other. Just the commonality of going through things and being a woman. We can connect on certain things, but there becomes a different dynamic, like you talked about, a shift to where I don't feel like I can get certain benefits that I really, really want with a man. And that happens. So that's a fair assessment.
The men were right. So I have a lot to say to the females that is probably going to make you guys upset. And I'm so sorry. I'm not going to hold your hand. I just got to say it. Because as a 304, there's so many things that I notice that you guys do wrong as civilians. Let's address the elephant in the room first, okay? Because you do not charge a price does not make you better than the ones that do. In fact, the men are saying that you're easy. They're like, oh, she gave it up so fast. But really, you liked them. That's why you did it. But they're not looking at it as she liked me, so she did this. They're looking at it as you are easy, that anyone can get it because they don't value themselves, first of all. 2, hookup culture never, ever benefited the women, ever. It's just a bunch of women who are hooking up with these men in attempts and aspiration to go further, or they're just going with the flow. If you let him get it without any barrier to entry, that's what he knows you as. The easy, I can call her up, it doesn't take anything, not even a fruit cup, not a Happy Meal. Also, a lot of you guys are very male-centered and men have gotten into your head, okay? You're saying that it's a problem with putting a price on it. They're saying it's a problem with putting a price on it because they can't afford it. That's why they're trying to humble you into thinking that you don't deserve anything, that you should just be giving it up. But with that logic, wouldn't that make you easy? Because you're not even getting a ring.
Sometimes it feels like people in the queer community need like a come to Jesus moment. Like they need a reality check. I just watched a video of this guy who like you would on sight assume was a woman. He's 100% female presenting, but identifies male, which, okay. And he's telling a story about how like he went on a date and in the car, the guy he was going on the date with asked him, he was like, hey, like this is uncomfortable. I don't want to offend you. Are you a man? And the guy posting the video was like, yeah, I am a man. And the guy he was going on a date with was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I had like an inkling, but I didn't know. It's not my thing. Like all the respect to you, but like I'm going to drive you home now. And the guy posting the video is like popping off like, oh, it's toxic masculinity. Like it's his insecurity, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this guy who was going to take you on a date did nothing wrong. He maybe should have asked the clarifying question a little bit sooner, but like on site, I would have assumed that that was a woman. It's not toxic masculinity to not be gay. And you can look however you want to look, you can present however you want to present, but you do have to understand the optics that comes with things. These mistakes are going to happen sometimes, and the other person was completely respectful. It's nobody's fault, you just move on. But people are also allowed to not be gay.
So on Instagram, there's this guy, I don't know if he's an expert or not, but he said the best predictor of a good relationship is emotional regulation by both partners. Do I think that's completely true? Absolutely not. As women, we're not as emotionally regulated as men. There are exceptions though. Our biology does not permit us to be as regulated emotionally as men. We can do all kinds of things to get to that place, but we're just not the same. So I'm sure in the future they're going to find out that, oh no, it's not. The best relationship are not because the couple is emotionally regulated. I think the best predictor is acceptance. That's it. Once you accept somebody as they are, you can deal with whatever comes. I'm just saying.
Passport bros. Before they became passport bros, as with most brothers, they always gave black women the right of first refusal. Black women always got the right of first refusal. I think with younger generations, that's going to become less so. But I think even earlier on, when passport bros really began to grow, one of the things that I saw was women would dismiss them as just wanting white women. But what I found was these brothers were coming back with women from Africa, North America, from the Caribbean. Sometimes they were darker than the sisters that they dated here. And I was like, so many people are really not understanding what's going on here. This isn't about aesthetics. It isn't about, chasing white women. It really is men who are looking to build families often, or at least have experiences with the feminine that are not rooted in misandry and contempt. Yeah. And it's just reached a fever pitch, I think, where the gate is open and brothers are really looking for whomever is, as long as they're attracted to them, but who's ever willing to reciprocate and engage them in good faith. And I just think at this point, I have not seen the willingness to deal with the reality of that. I just haven't. So that said, we'll see where it goes. But I think where this is even in terms of the statistics, as far as interracial marriage, I'm like, this is the writing is pretty clear. Y'all need to either do something about it or not. And so for this last period since Trump has been in office, what we've seen, particularly with the job losses and so on and so forth, is either one of two responses. I've seen a doubling down of the contempt for black men by certain black women. And I've seen those who are saying, okay, I'm ready to be a wife. I don't want to work anymore. Come get me. And I'm like, neither one of those responses are going to generate the response you think you want. It's not. It's not.
I was going to get some food and I had asked the cashier, like, do you feel bad when you get food and you walk past homeless people? He said no, because it's either like a me or you situation. I'm hungry too. And that is wild. That is crazy. Like, but we are in like a me or you situation with how much like food is. But damn, thinking like we can't just give is crazy. We can't give food. Well, maybe he was just a horrible person, because I was still trying to help.
And remember, ladies, the whole plot is to be useless, self-centered, and selfish with your body. The game is to do less, give less, and require more.
You know things are bad when you are no longer physically able to picture yourself being in a relationship or being in love at some point in the future. I remember I used to get so giddy and excited every single time I thought about my future and what that would look like with a partner. Like, I would always conjure up these made up scenarios of myself and some mystery man of how we met or conversations we'd have or what our life would look like together. And I realized recently that I'm no longer able to do that. Like, when I think about my future, I no longer see a man in it. And it makes me sad because, again, like I mentioned, it used to make me really excited about the possibility of like, ooh, who is this person gonna be? But now I'm in this place of like, I just don't think it's gonna happen. I would love for it to happen and I'm very open to it happening. But in this current phase of my life, at least where I'm currently at right now, it just does not seem like that's a possibility. It doesn't seem real. Like, even going further, I typically have a very specific type of man that I'm attracted to, and I could always picture myself with that kind of person. But even now, I'm just like, I don't even know what kind of person I see myself with. And I don't even want to put in the energy of like trying to hype myself up about something that I really want, because historically speaking, nothing in my life ever goes the way that I want it to, or nothing ever happens when I want it to. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm not even going to try to imagine myself with this type of man, because I can't guarantee that's going to happen. It's probably not even going to happen that way. But I guess I'm just really grieving that once very hopeful version of myself. I'm grieving the version of myself that was much younger, maybe like mid-20s, that was like, oh my God, I can't wait to meet someone. And now I'm 30 and a half years old and I'm feeling the complete opposite way. When I think about my life 10 years in the future, I don't know what I see. I see nothing, because I feel like my life trajectory just continues to change. And like I said, I can't see myself with a partner anymore. This could be a mixture of a variety of things, like maybe my mind is trying to protect me. Maybe this is a sign that my life is just gonna head in a completely different direction than ending up with someone. Maybe me not being able to picture myself with someone ever again is just a phase. I don't really know, but I hate it here. I hate that I don't get excited about the potential of meeting someone like I used to. I don't know, maybe this is a good thing. Maybe it's good I'm not completely putting all of my eggs in one basket of being like, yep, this is exactly how my life is gonna end up. Maybe life will surprise me, it usually tends to do so, but it is pretty wild that I no longer picture myself with anyone anymore, let alone a specific kind of person, and it makes me sad.
Gen Z isn't dating anymore, and yes, women carry most of the responsibility for that. Now, before anybody rushes to the comments, this is part 3 of a series. I've already made videos explaining the political divide between men and women, and another breaking down how men have contributed to their own loneliness. What I'm basically saying, this isn't one-sided, but you should watch those videos after you watch this one before you comment anything, because I've already talked about it most likely. The uncomfortable reality is that fixing the dating crisis would require women to do one thing that they usually can't do, and that is take accountability. Modern culture simply doesn't train women for that. Men gain status through accountability because society forces men into responsibility, whether they like it or not. And we see this through our court system. Men get harsher punishments than women for the same crimes. Men are judged more severely for failure. A man earns respect when he carries his own weight. Women, on the other hand, gain social status through connection, cohesion, group alignment. Their punishment is exclusion, gossip, and reputation damage, not confrontation. That difference makes a cultural reversal of this trend incredibly difficult. And here's another core truth for you. Women control the social validation economy. What does that mean? It means that modern society functions according to female approval. You know, every joke, trend, outfit, and opinion is filtered through this question. Will women be upset by this? People don't fear male disapproval. They fear female disapproval. One wrong comment towards the wrong girl can socially exile you, and everybody knows it. We call that a matriarchy, by the way, not a patriarchy. And feminism has accelerated this. It has reshaped what women are taught to want in men. It told women they don't need men, that men and women are identical, that masculinity is toxic, and that career and independence comes before family and relationships. At the same time, men are told to suppress the traits that have historically made them attractive: strength, ambition, confidence, stability, because women find that to be toxic now. So what do men do in this economy, this validation economy? They soften themselves for approval. And then women complain that men aren't masculine enough anymore. It's a self-created contradiction here. And you know, the numbers prove where the shift is happening. A 2023 Pew study found that the percentage of 12th grade girls who want marriage dropped from 83% in 1993 to just 61% today. For the boys, the number barely changed. Meaning, it isn't men abandoning family, it's women, being conditioned to at least. They're encouraged to delay marriage, to delay children, to choose careers, to live life, and then reassess family in their 30s. Men didn't design the system, they're just reacting to it logically by checking out of it. The tragedy is that the data and the biblical tradition agree. Women who marry young and have children report far higher long-term happiness than those who throw out family for career and casual dating. The so-called empowerment path isn't making women fulfilled. It's making them anxious, dissatisfied, and confused. So no, men aren't the problem, and it's not the patriarchy. The real issue is the ideology that has convinced women to abandon the things that have historically made them happiness. And you know what? We need to start talking about this more. Whether it offends people or not, whether women approve of it or not. Because you know what's going to happen if we don't see a reversal of this? Women are going to become more depressed. Men are going to become more lonely. Birth rates are going to drop. And society is going to collapse because of that. That's not good for anybody. So we need to start talking about it, whether it offends people or not.
Some of the most damning evidence proving that men don't view women as human beings, as individuals with the same depth and dimension as men, and as actually interesting and worth getting to know beyond sexual gratification, is the fact that they never ask us a single question. Practically every single woman has been on not just one, but multiple dates with men where they don't ask her a single question about herself.
I mean, men do, but the questions that men ask you, you don't want to answer. You can ask them personal questions and all that other stuff, but the moment that man asks you something that you don't want to answer, then you don't even consider the question.
And then these men will turn around and say, I really like you. I've never met someone like you before. This feels really special. And it's not just first dates where it's like, oh, maybe he was nervous. No. Men will message you every single day. They will introduce you to their friends and family. They will even tell you that they love you and still not ask you a single question about yourself. And this isn't just in a romantic or sexual context either. It also applies to friendships. Most of the men I've been friends with, leftist men who understand the patriarchy and the epidemic of male violence against women, they still don't ask women any questions.
What is them understanding violence against women have to do with them asking any questions? Just say that they don't want to talk to you all day long. Just say that.
And I think partly what it comes down to is that men don't ask us questions about ourselves so they can project whatever they want us to be onto us. The less they ask us and the less they know about us, the more in their minds they can mold us into whatever character they want us to be performing. We can remain a fantasy rather than a human being with depth and flaws and trauma and everything else that comes with being a natural human being. Asking us questions about ourselves ultimately ruins the fantasy. But more significantly, it does not serve men's interests to make the effort to actually get to know women on a more meaningful level. Now, I don't mean the level where men will fake emotional depth in order to extract information from women that they then use to manipulate them, exploit them, and them. I mean getting to know somebody and forging a genuine, meaningful, authentic connection because of how deeply you know one another. Because ultimately, men generally aren't in communication with women to forge this type of connection. That's not what women are for to them. That's what the bros are for. Men are in communication with women to extract emotional labor, domestic labor, and sexual labor from them. And asking women questions, depressingly, is not a requisite for extracting this labor from them. The patriarchy has, not only on a macro level, organized society around women being subservient to and subjugated by men, aka the institution of marriage, the lack of women's legal rights, and the consequent denial of women's freedom, independence, and autonomy. But psychologically, it has conditioned women to serve men, to gratify men, to center their lives around men. So women have been conditioned, have been trained for centuries from day dot to provide this free labor to men. It's so deeply ingrained in us that men don't even have to work for it.
You know, it really, just listening, I don't know why, but it really sounds like to me that y'all really don't want to do for a man. Y'all really don't want to cater to a man at all. Y'all want men to do things for y'all. Y'all want men to take care of y'all and protect y'all and to provide for y'all. But y'all really don't want to, y'all want to make all these excuses as to why y'all don't want to do anything for a man, as to why y'all want to dog men out and treat men like trash. That's all this is. Well, the patriarchy, this, and so we should be able to. You just don't want to be nice and kind to men. And you want men, by law, by force, to be nice to you, to buy you things. That's what y'all want. That's all I'm hearing right now.
We offer it up on a silver platter because it's what we've been conditioned to do. So for men, asking women questions, actually getting to know us on a deeper, more meaningful level, is quite simply unnecessary labor that they do not want and do not need to undertake. And if they were to undertake such labor, that would make it harder for them to exploit us and to extract labor from us. Because dehumanization is central to these activities. And asking women questions about themselves challenges this dehumanization. It shakes the very foundations upon which their perception of women and their justification for exploiting us rests. So it's in men's interests to not ask women a single thing. Now, despite what people may think, I don't inherently hate every single man. But this is why it's so hard to be friends with and date men. Because beyond the fact that they are our biggest predator, they don't take any interest in who we are and in our lives. And they very obviously don't see us as actual human beings. We are both high up on a pedestal as a fantasy and down on our knees as a servant. And my general rule of thumb for a man to be in my life is that he has to prove not only that he understands the patriarchy, but that he's actively unlearning the misogyny and sexism he's been conditioned with. Because truly, this is one of the best indicators of how safe a man is. Now, I know it can be faked. Trust me, I've dated fake male feminists before. But still, research has shown time and time again that the more misogynistic a man is, the more of a danger he is to women, which is pretty obvious. But a great telltale sign that a man is not doing the work is that he doesn't ask you a single question about yourself. Because this tells you so much about how he views women, how he views himself, and what he will expect you to do.
So let's read these statistics. Violent crime data shows that the vast majority of men never harm a woman. In the U.S., the FBI's Uniform Crime Reports and the Bureau of Justice Statistics consistently show around 1% of men will ever commit a crime, violent crime, in a given year. Only 0.1 to 0.2% of men will commit a violent crime against a woman in a given year. Over a lifetime, roughly 92 to 95% of men will never commit any violent offense against anyone. The percentage who will commit SA is estimated between 2 to 4% of men depending on the data set and definitions, meaning over 95% of men will never physically harm a woman. Over 96 to 98% of men will never SA a woman. Those are actual ranges supported by criminal justice data. Number 2, the majority of men are predators narrative comes from feelings and not statistics. Women often hear statistics framed by risk rather than perpetrator percentage. For example, 1 in 6 women will experience assault, but these incidents are overwhelmingly committed by the same small group of men, not by men as a whole. So you're running into the same criminals. They're criminals. Unfortunately for you, by the way, which would make sense because you had the same serial killers running around terrorizing towns. So that makes sense. Okay. Not all men harm women. A very small subset does. Repeatedly, men are also overwhelmingly victims of violence by other men. This matters because it proves the point. If men are predators, then men should fear men more than women should, statistically speaking. The bottom line is statistical framing. 95 to 98% of men will never harm a woman. 2 to 5% of men are responsible for the majority of all harm. Period. Period. This is why criminologists are referring to them as repeat offenders. That's why they're called repeat offenders, because they keep on doing the same thing over and over again, because they're criminals. They're criminals. Shut up and sit down.
Let's talk about misogyny, sexism, and patriarchy. So you see how all of these red pill feminists are about, we gotta dismantle patriarchy, we gotta take down patriarchy. It's like, whatever. The only reason why you're complaining about patriarchy is because you no longer benefit from it. A clear indicator of women upholding and enforcing misogyny, patriarchy, and sexism, dating. How many times have we seen videos in regards to women arguing about, I don't want no coffee date. You got to take me to a restaurant and it can't be Cheesecake Factory. If you're broke, then say you're broke. How dare you take me to Cheesecake Factory? Now, I've eaten at Cheesecake Factory recently, and a early dinner for two was $178. You know, it's a 2.5 star restaurant, right? But the fact that you expect a man to be dropping $200 to $500 on the first date, that is upholding patriarchy, misogyny, and sexism. I want a man to be a protector and a provider. Once again, you are enforcing gender norms. You are upholding gender norms. I want a man to do this and I want a man to do that. You call yourself a feminist, but you want to reap the benefits of sexism, patriarchy, and misogyny. But then you can complain about it when you no longer benefit from it. And the women who do benefit from patriarchy, misogyny, and sexism, you call it pretty privilege. Because when you sit there and you really listen actively and you dissect the surface level tension and you really drill down to the core problem in regards to what pretty privilege is women who benefit from patriarchy. It ain't to do with her being pretty, and it has everything to do with the fact that she is garnering favor with the men. So the women who complain the most about pretty privilege or aesthetic politics are the women who cannot benefit from it. Pretty privilege boils down to good old-fashioned textbook sexual competition. The fact that she is getting attention from men and reaping the benefits of patriarchy. Ain't to do with the fact that she's just purely pretty. Why do you think that the main people who talk about pretty privilege are women? Because men don't give a fuck about that. And no matter how many times you sit there and try to tell women you need more than just a pretty face and a nice body, you gotta have a personality, they don't want to listen. This is why a lot of these red pill feminists will never be a lesbian, because they don't have any game. The playing field has been leveled, and they don't have the personality or the range to pull a woman. And so they go back to what they know, being straight, when deep down they're just closeted lesbians who are just bitter and broken. You ain't gotta, agree with me. You can argue all you want, but it's amazing what you pick up on when you just observe and actively listen.
And the thing is, I think they know that. They're not ignorant to that fact. But what's happening is, while they call men undisciplined, while they call men the ones who are emotionally unintelligent, they say that men can't regulate their emotions. You're seeing this in real time. What she's discussing, they can't do it either. If a man can't do it, you can't do it either. Well, I just want what I want. Well, I think that I deserve princess treatment. Well, I think it's okay for a female to want passenger princess. I know, I get it. I come to a point where, you see, I work so hard that I should be in my princess era, my soft girl era, and all of these other things to say I should reward myself. Oh, I think it's time for me to have some self-care. Self-care is good. But what y'all are talking about is permanent vacation mode. And y'all think a man should supply you the money to be in permanent vacation mode. That's what y'all know, that y'all should be working and doing things and contributing equally. But I'm not going to deny the fact that I'm tired and I should still be working. I'm not going to deny myself staying in the house, laying down all day, sleeping, and then I get up real quick and make a 30-minute cleaning video and post it on TikTok to make y'all think that I've been doing something all day. Get ready with me to go to the store and I pick out a lemon, a cucumber, and an avocado, and then post it on TikTok, make y'all think I done something all day. That's what modern women are doing out here. That's what they're doing. Come with me while I go get Starbucks and get the oil changed. They drive right by the gas station. They make y'all think that they productive because they took a snapshot and a screenshot of the oil place. But they're not going to show you them getting their oil changed. Number one. Number two, even if they do, they showing you they man them when they got the oil changed. They're not doing all of that. They want to be at home and they want to be lazy. They don't want people to call them out for it unless they making a little joke about it and saying, oh, Akash, his wife, the way she's acting, they don't want it unless it's that. We can make little jokes about you not providing enough, you not giving me enough. I was watching Abin Preacher's video today. Didn't even finish it. Her talking about, and I understand some of it that she's saying is legit. It's legitimately a joke. I'll give you that. But some of that stuff, that's bratty, undisciplined, immature behavior. And he's got to, now, he decided to do that. But he's got to put up with that. Because that's what he wanted. So he wanted a beautiful woman. He's paying for that. He decided, you know what, I'm going to give her anything. I just think that she's beautiful. That's my opinion now. I don't know that to be true. She's beautiful. I'm going to give her anything. And, you know, maybe she'll respect me in time. I think he said something like, I'm giving her gifts in order for her to think that I'm good enough or something like that. He mentioned that in passing on one of these interviews. That's what they're doing. They know their emotional regulation is trash, but they don't care. I want what I want, like little toddlers.
Oh, honey, I knew these chicks was lying at the skin of their teeth from day one. Not only are they lonely, but their self-esteem is in a hot gutter trash. Just scroll on any video of a conventionally attractive man and you'll see it in the comment section. Sit there and post a video. You can do it yourself. Post a video where you can just zero in on a feature that a small population of women have, right? Green eyes, hazel eyes, blue eyes, big ass afro, locks, whatever, right? Just say, oh, if a woman has this particular feature, she's the most beautiful woman in the entire world. And watch your comment section blow up with a bunch of women dropping selfies. So I see, this is me, pick me. I have those features. And then another half of the women are going to be like, but what about these features? And what about me? And what about me? Watch, the self-esteem is in the hot gutter trash with their dating standards. Like in my other video that I posted 2 days ago, the septum ring girlies, they are crashing out in my comment section, telling me, well, I don't like you because you have long nails. Sweetheart, I don't want to be your friend. You're just proving the point on how weird and sick you are. You're definitely proving the point of the theory. Because all I said was, I don't want to watch your videos, and you are breaking your neck in my comment section to the point where I have to block you because you gone full-blown single white female, 1993 version of the movie. This is black women and white women going full-blown psychotic and Saltridge because I'm like, I don't want to be your friend. I don't recommend women doing that because these chicks really are cuckoo. I don't recommend anybody doing that. That's how cuckoo they are. But their self-esteem is in the trash. And the whole time they were sitting there trying to push this narrative about, I'm so happy. I don't need a man. Okay, sweetheart. If you were so happy, why are you constantly having to announce it every 3 to 5 minutes? But sweetheart, if you got some patience, wait till Valentine's Day. Oh, Valentine's Day. The misandrous red pill content creators, oh, that mask falls off so fast. That loneliness really does show. It is quite comical because if a woman is truly comfortable with herself, she wouldn't be breaking her neck trying to engage in content that's not for her. If her self-esteem was really good, she wouldn't give about what another is doing. These broads are lonely and their self-esteem is in a gutter trash. This is why they are so thirsty for validation and community on the internet. Because no one ain't checking for them like that in the real world.
And she made a good point there at the end. Nobody is checking for them in the real world. They're not. Men don't want to be bothered. That's why they have to make up things and say, oh, well, he's sassy. Oh, he's lonely. All of these incels. Or there's some men that go overboard and they say things and they do things and they act crazy with you. I saw a clip of a man at a bar the other day. A woman posted it. She's leaning back and the man is all up in her face. It don't seem like the brother's blinking. Nothing. He just sitting in her face. And she's like, why are you in my face? Get out of my face. And he's doing weird, creepy, predatory stuff. It's like, bro, why are you doing that? Move out of her face. Get away. That's crazy. But what they're doing is saying, oh, well, men are like this. And I understand it. You run into somebody like that and you be like, man, because that was weird. That was more than weird. I don't know what to call that, but brother was just looking at it. He wasn't even saying nothing. I was like, is dude even breathing? That's weird. But they think that all men are doing that. And truth be told, they wouldn't care if Chad or Tyrone were doing that. But once again, I get it. I get it. But the point is, they, especially around Valentine's Day, the mask gonna come off. All Christmas, quote unquote anniversaries, they gonna make up an anniversary with the guy that they currently talking to, with the guy that they've been out on a date maybe once. Oh, I thought you and I were an item. I thought we were together. And they'll say things and they'll do things. Now, they might spend a little bit at that point in time to get a little bit more. That's a game some of them play. Oh, well, you know, around Valentine's Day, if I know I ain't put in the work, I'm going to try to send him a little box of chocolates. So he thinks, oh, yeah, shoot, I guess we are something. I'm going to give her a little something, something. She might call, talk sweet to him. Hey, did you get my gift? It's a little bag that, you know, you can buy for $3 at Walgreens or some sort of pharmacy, Rite Aid or something like that. I don't even know if Rite Aid is open anymore. But the point is, they'll do something small. Lowest output, bare minimum. So the guy thinks, oh yeah, I gotta take her out. Oh, and she's a baddie. I gotta come with it. I can't take her just any old place. I gotta take her out. That's content for her. I ain't have nobody hitting on me. I ain't have nobody trying to take me out or do nothing for me. I got to make something shake. Sometimes I need content. So I just got to throw something out there, hope that it lands, and hope the women on my For You page or the people tuning into me believe what I'm saying. These modern women are involved. You know, I'll say this. If it was a crime, yeah, men would be in jail, but there would be a lot of these women in jail. I wonder if you would have, because we talk about men committed majority of the crime, I wonder if you would have 50-50 men and women committing the same amount of dating crimes. I wonder, especially now in today's age, if you would have majority women, even if slightly, committing most of these crimes and atrocities.